So let's talk about Cambodia. For the last 30 years, the country has been on an incredible run. Its growth was really powered by a simple formula: peace, opening up to the world, and a whole lot of labor-intensive work. But that model? Well, it's starting to run out of steam. And that brings us to a huge, critical question. Where's the next wave of growth going to come from? Think of this explainer as a strategic deep dive, designed to help us uncover that answer together.
And that really is the central question, isn't it? The game plan that worked so well for 3 decades has brought Cambodia to this crucial turning point. So to really figure out where we're going next, we first have to appreciate just how incredible the journey has been so far.
All right, so let's get grounded in the data, because Cambodia's recent past is nothing short of a story of incredible economic acceleration.
I mean, the scale of this transformation is just staggering. Seriously, look at this number. Between 1993 and 2022, Cambodia's GDP per capita grew more than 7 times over. Think about that. It went from just $242 to almost $1,800. This wasn't just, steady growth. This was a complete quantum leap.
So you might be asking, how on earth did that happen? Well, take a look at this. Cambodia's growth rate, at nearly 7% a year on average, just blew past what the rest of the world was doing. It allowed the country to start closing that massive income gap. This is what economists call classic catch-up growth. The simple version? It was all about moving workers from low-productivity farms into higher-productivity factories. It's an incredibly powerful first step for sure. But that model has its limits, and this is exactly where a lot of countries get stuck in that dreaded middle-income trap.
And this is really the crucial point right here. The exact same strategy that brought Cambodia all this success, well, it's just not going to be enough to get it to the next level. The future is demanding a totally new playbook.
And look, the national ambition here is incredibly bold. We're talking about reaching upper middle income status by 2030 and then high income status by 2050. But simply doing more of the same, trying to squeeze a little more out of the old model, that just won't get the country there. What's needed is a fundamental structural transformation of the entire economy.
And this right here really illustrates the shift that needs to happen. On the left, you've got the old playbook, the pillars of past success. On the right, you see the ingredients for future prosperity. Making that jump from a model based on low-cost labor to one driven by innovation and economic complexity, it's not just a preference, it's an absolute necessity.
And here's exactly why it's so urgent. Cambodia is on track to graduate from its least developed country status, maybe as soon as 2029. Now that's a huge milestone, a real mark of success. But it comes with a major challenge. The country will lose its special preferential trade access. This is a direct threat to the very sectors that have been the engine of the economy for decades. We're talking garments, footwear, bicycles. Basically, the safety net is about to be removed.
Okay, so with that challenge laid out, how does a country like Cambodia navigate such a complex transition? Well, that's what this whole series is about. We're going to build a kind of conceptual map for the future.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to break it down into 5 key modules. First up, strategy and foresight, where we'll ask, is there a real strategy here or just a wish list of targets? Then, second, we'll look at management and organization, because, a country's productivity really comes down to what's happening inside its companies. Third, we'll get back to the fundamentals of growth and really focus on why ideas and technology have to take over as the main drivers. Fourth, we'll use something called economic complexity to map out which new industries are actually a realistic next step. And finally, we'll get practical with innovation policy, looking at the specific tools, the levers, the government can pull to spark all this change.
And just to be clear, this whole framework isn't just some academic exercise. It's specifically designed to connect that big, high-level vision directly to the real-world policies that get implemented on the ground.
In fact, everything we're talking about in this series is directly linked to implementing the government's own pentagonal strategy. The whole goal here is to move beyond those broad aspirations and get down to specific diagnostic actions that can actually solve the real-world problems holding back Cambodia's growth.
So as we go through this, I want to ask you to adopt a certain mindset, the mindset of a diagnostician. Our purpose here isn't to sit back and celebrate the amazing successes of the past. It's to look forward with clear eyes and figure out exactly what constraints are holding back the future. And we're going to begin with what might just be the most misunderstood word in all of government: strategy.